I fancy looking at something newer this week on the channel, so here's DriveClub for the PlayStation 4. It's been a few years since its release and its price has dropped dramatically, so let's find out if it's still worth picking up. DriveClub is an arcade racer / simulation game. It puts you behind the wheel of tons of high-end performance vehicles and attempts to add seamless racing to an outstanding graphics package. DriveClub is set out with a tablet interface, meaning that everything is easily accessible and has a clean and expensive look to it. The draw of the game, aside from the vehicles and graphics, is the continuous online play and levelling up system. Part of the fun of DriveClub is being able to play with a whole team of people and work together to help unlock all the cars and tracks. So this means that sometimes you can just sign on to play the game, and you'll find that as a whole you've leveled up as a result of your online team completing races. Alongside the online rankings and leaderboards, you also get custom paint jobs for your car that all of your other teammates will have access to as well, and the more teammates you have, the faster you'll gain experience. And yes, there are tons of trophies for you to collect for your PlayStation Network profile. Now onto the actual content of the game. You have access to well over 100 cars of varying designs, including everything from the humble Renault Megane to the mighty Hennessy Venom GT. As you progress through the game collecting the stars for winning races and achieving set goals, you'll gain access to more cars and tracks. I like that before each race you get panoramic views of the racetrack and countryside. It makes each race feel more realistic, especially in the first person mode. DriveClub does its best to show off and does a good job of convincing you to wave goodbye to your PS4 and its library of games. The presentation is fantastic, all of the cars are well detailed inside and the whole game has a clean and glossy look to it. The only downside to this game is that there is no real story, and upon completion of the game you are not really rewarded for doing so other than the trophies you can add to your PSN profile, which is kind of a shame. Now for the rest of this video, I want you to remember that the game you're looking at is only £9, so remember that when you're comparing it to Project Cars and all the other big name races out there. First of all, let's touch on the graphics. They are amazing. The attention to detail in this game is one of the main reasons I bought it on release. I love the day and night transitions, the real-time damage models and the crazy weather effects that actually affect the performance of your car. I love the way the scenery looks and the impression each track has on you as the player. I also love the way the tracks are built with drifting in mind, meaning you never really have to slow down if you're good enough. I also think it's awesome that you can sit in first person in any of the cars, including the DLC models, and look all around the vehicle. Not to mention the models in the game are identical to the real car, which adds another layer of realism. I also think the controls are spot on as well. The cars feel planted to the floor, but also have an element of floatiness about them, which means you can slide around corners quite easily and bounce back from crashes and still have a fighting chance. There isn't really a soundtrack to this game, other than some backing music on the menus. Usually I wouldn't like this, but only being able to hear your engine and where other cars are on the track actually makes you concentrate more. Not to mention, when you are driving in first person, you'll need to listen for changes in the weather and where other cars are on the track to ensure you don't spin out, which adds another little bit of something to keep the game feeling unique. The gameplay feels realistic and the challenge is certainly fair. I never got caught on any of the track due to bad programming or felt that the game was playing unfair to stop me from winning. DriveClub was designed to let you have fun and it certainly does its job well. I actually really like the online mode. The reason being is because it actually works. So let me give you an example. So usually in a game that offers online modes with clubs, nobody ever joins them because they're too complicated and take away from the flow of the gameplay, and usually require that you pay extra money to even access them. Yet in DriveClub, by default you are part of a club already, so that means you always gain EXP and help other community members out, and because it's easier to be part of a club than not be in one, the service actually works. So yeah, the promises in the back of the box aren't just complete lies that people gave up with after day one. The graphics are fantastic, the gameplay is actually fun, it's excellent value for money, and the online actually works and is populated by people who really do play the game properly. So yeah, DriveClub is a good investment. You might argue that without a story it's kind of pointless, but Sega Rally Championship on the Sega Saturn was literally only 10 minutes long and had 4 levels and everyone loved that game. I also want to talk about the DLC options, as I know that it's still a factor in buying games these days after the season pass rubbish we had to endure with Battlefield 3 and FIFA 13, which meant that pre-owned copies of the game were practically worthless. Well, for starters, there is a lot to play with. There are additional tracks, cars, paint jobs, the works. See, if you're the kind of person that likes to use microtransactions of Snoop Dogg's voice for Call of Duty Ghosts, you're gonna have a field day here. There are also free cars you can download right now, like this Peugeot I found, and yes, you can go first person with these models as well. If you want to buy everything, including all the tracks and fancy colour schemes, you can get a deal on it for about £25, which sounds pretty hefty when the game is only £9 itself, but you're still paying less than retail for about 4 games worth, so I think that it's worth it, especially when the online community actually works. There is also DLC for racing bikes, but I personally know nothing about bikes and steered clear from it, but judging by the rest of the game, it's going to be much of the same, so I'd say it's a safe bet. The presentation of the game is enough of a reason to make a purchase, and the overall quality will hopefully leave you as satisfied as it did with me. A plus I can actually think of the low price point is that if you and your friends are all buying PlayStation 4s at the same time, it's cheap enough for everyone to pick up on the same day and then play online as a team, so don't let the low price point deter you from getting this title. The game is also simple enough for non-racing game fans to pick up and play competitively, so it performs well in lots of different categories. Parents. If your children want another quality PS4 game they won't complete in an afternoon, this game has you covered. And adults. If you want to drive an array of supercars and huge online lobbies with addicting gameplay, DriveClub will keep you coming back for more. What else can I say? It's like driving all the best cars from BBC's Top Gear with stunning graphics, a modern layout and a community that cares. If you listen carefully, you can probably hear your copy sitting in the pre-owned section of your local shopping centre. So get cracking before someone else snags it up.